My name is Keith Adams. I live in Binbrook, Ontario, and I've been attending Gateway probably for 2 years. I struggled for 6 or 7 years with pain in my shoulder that's commonly referred to as rotator cuff injury or frozen shoulder. It was the result of damage to the right shoulder caused by participation in different sports like hockey. The last time that I injured it was when I slipped on a piece of ice and landed on my chainsaw. But the good thing was the chainsaw was off. The last time was more painful, and it seemed to take me a little bit longer than normal for it to feel better. I was unable to lift my right arm above my shoulder to the side or to the front. I went to an orthopedic surgeon, and he said if you'd come to me earlier, we could have done something. But because it took so long, there's nothing I can do. So he suggested physiotherapy and medication. Physio didn't seem to help. I would go to see the physiotherapist, Paula, and she'd work on it. I'd come out in the hallway, and she'd always ask me, how was it going? And I always lift my arm and I say, that's better, so much better. And she looked at me and she said, that's not the arm I worked on. I said, yeah, you're right. I resigned myself to the fact that this was going to be my thorn. This was going to have to be the cross that I was to bear. The things I enjoyed and took for granted were now limited. Throwing a ball, skipping stones into the water with my granddaughters, cycling, and golf. Last spring, Pastor Steve got up and he was talking about how God heals. And when he finished, he said that there's some people out there that are having headache problems or eye problems, knee or hip problems. Somebody's out there with a bad shoulder. He said, come on up to the front if you feel inclined for prayer. And I remember it was almost like a nudge as I got out of the chair and walked to the front. And I waited. And Brad and Charlie invited me and asked me what was going on. And I told them about the shoulder injury. And so they prayed, and I left. The next morning I was in my room, reading and praying. And then I remembered the day before we'd asked God if he would heal my shoulder. And so I said, hey, what happened about the prayer? And I heard a small voice that said, try it. So slowly I lifted my right arm out to the side and lifted it. And where the pain should have started, I felt nothing. I was able to lift my arm over my head. And I thought, this is amazing. I could lift it to the front as well. I've seen my physiotherapist since. When I showed her the improvement, she told me, no. That was the other shoulder. You can't fool me. So I raised both arms. I got to share with her how God healed my shoulder. Something that I like to do when I worship is to raise my arms. Both arms, reaching up in an act of surrender. If you read the Psalms, you'll find that there are many passages about raising our hands. It's so good to be able to lift them again as I praise the Lord.